TUFF SHIFT. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of TUFF SHIFT, the podcast where we unpack all that goes into surviving the job and living the dream. I am your host, Patrick Murtagh, and let's get this pre-shift started, all right? Let's go ahead and get going. I am coming to you fresh. From the shower. But last night, do you remember last year when I was just like talking shit about that one restaurant I was working at? And it was like, it got closed down for the fires and there's all this shit. And there's the manager who was allegedly always drunk and bringing all these hoes into the bar when he was like supposed to be in charge. And it was just like madness. And I left there. I was like, I can't, this place is awful and they don't feed us and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like a gremlin about it. And I don't take anything I said back, allegedly or unallegedly. Maybe I shouldn't say hoes, maybe, but we'll unpack that, or maybe we won't. And I got to, I ran from that place. I ran as fast as I could, like Whitney Houston, I want to run to you, to where I'm at now. And before I left, my coworker, Tony, told me, he's like, Papi, don't do it. You know this place sucks. You know this place is awful. You know that guy's a drunk. You know that person doesn't care. You know you're doing more work than anyone. But you make money. You're only working a few hours a night. But you can get over it. You can get over it. And I was just so charged with but it's not right. And blah, 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 blah. And I want to be back behind a bar slinging drinks and rah, 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 rah. And he's like, okay, go. It was almost like, go travel the world. See what you need to see, find what you need to find. And I did. And I found very quickly that he was right. And I ended up at the restaurant I'm at now, where I am bartending. I am holding down the fort. I am slinging drinks and owning that service well. I am just holding the walls up and just making dreams come true. But as we've talked on here, some dreams are nightmares. And this place that I'm at now, sometimes it's a 9-hour shift, because we've unpacked that it is just so much to set up. It's like a 2-hour job to properly set up the bar. And there's just so many mixes, and every cocktail is a blend, and everything has 2 garnishes. And the idea behind it was they wanted to have some culinary elements behind the bar. And so they're like, we're going to do this garnish and that garnish, and every drink has 2 garnishes and a blend that needs to be made, and a juice that's not just lemon and lime juice, and that has to be made, and all these syrups. And it just, there's so much space taken up because they want to have these culinary elements. But where they failed in executing that was, in a kitchen is run so efficiently. And I dare you, the next time you're at a restaurant, look at the menu and see what elements pop up on different dishes. At our place, there's like tzatziki in over half the dishes. The whipped feta that is a dip for an appetizer also is the base of this other appetizer, also is the base of this. Things pop up because kitchens and menus, when done properly, are run efficient. So you're not over prepping, you're not making it more complicated, and you can get the dishes out. Now that didn't really translate to the bar. And I have tried explaining that to them. I have let them know, like, well, we just had these drink rollouts. And I said, one of the issues that you're facing here is that you rolled out all these drinks without consulting any of your bartenders. You rolled out all these things and made all these pretty PDFs and all these spec sheets without looking at the space you actually have and what you already have going on. So now we're at a spot to where the bin where we hold all our syrups, there's not enough for all the syrups. And where we have our juices, there's not enough room for the new juices they added on without taking away other juices. And then in front of us, again, we've talked about this, is all blends. There is not a well liquor to be found. That is 3 feet over here at a bottleneck part of the bar with a screen separating me from where I need to go and get what everyone orders, which is a Tito's, a Grey Goose, tequila ocho, all those things. So it just doesn't work. It's not functional. It sucks. But I asked for this, right? I wanted to be behind the bar. I wanted to be a hero. I wanted to just be in this place that really, prioritizes respect and integrity on paper only. And I went back to my old job as a guest back in September, because I was doing that little show parade just down the street from this place. And I went in, and Tony walks up and he goes, "So how are things going?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, Tony." And he just didn't even let me finish. He's like, "I was right, wasn't I?" And I was like, "You were." But sometimes you have to travel the world and experience things for yourself. I always tell people, my motto with life and with nannying and all those things is, and with people you love, sometimes you have to let them touch the hot stove. Sometimes you have to let them scrape their knee, because that's the only way the lesson is gonna be learned. Gonna get learned. I don't know where past life regressions come out and I just say things. Anyway, last night, I ended up going back to my old restaurant to pick up shifts. I've been actually, and I'm just going to own it because you know how much shit I've talked about this place. It's well documented on this podcast. If you look anywhere from the beginning of the podcast through about May of last year, and somewhere around February, it was really fucking intense. And I don't take back any of those things, but I'm learning that, like, what the fuck do you care? I got a little too attached. I was just so hell-bent on what is right and wrong in this world, and feeling trapped there. Really feeling like it was my only option, and not appreciating that I have an entire full life outside of it. I have this beautiful home. I have friends. I have family. I have people who love me. I have other side hustles that I do. And I just was so hell-bent on this place being right and wrong. And I'm looking at the place that I'm at now. I'm hell-bent on being right and wrong. You shouldn't be doing things this way. You know it, and you're costing me money. And so I've been trying to go back to my old restaurant, not full-time, because again, I'm transitioning out of this hospitality life and leaning into my side hustle as a bookkeeper and making that my main hustle. And in discussions with my partner around this transition, I'm like, to get out of the hospitality industry, I'm going to really have to lean into it. And I'm going to have to go a little deeper in certain areas and supplement, so that way I can get this other side hustle to be my main focus. And then we'll see where performing comes in there. So all things are all rearranging. And part of the leaning back into it was like, I should probably go back to this place in Venice. It's 4-hour shifts, it's 5-hour shifts, it's 6-hour shifts. And I'm making twice what I do. Last night I made so much money that I forgot someone could make that much money in a 4.5-hour shift. Meanwhile, I'm at this place in Hermosa Beach. Oops, fuck it, I'm almost out. I don't give a shit. I'm at this place in Hermosa Beach where sometimes I'm working a 9-hour shift. I am holding down the fort. I am pumping out drinks like really only one other bartender there can, but I still don't let him because I have a hero complex. And sometimes we look at the breakdown of what we got tipped out, and it's embarrassing. I worked a Saturday night recently where I barely broke $200. Barely broke $200 for a 300 cover night. That's fucking crazy. So I've been texting with my manager back at my old place, and she's really set on getting me as much as she can. And every time she's been trying to get me into bartend events there or this and that, I can't, because the place that I'm at is so overwhelming and all consuming that I'm like, I'm already booked and there's no coverage and I can't take the shift off. And recently she's like, okay, Valentine's Day. Hi, happy Valentine's Day. That's when we're recording this, is coming up and I need all hands on deck. And I was like, I definitely can't work Valentine's Day. I'm definitely going to be at my awful place. But let me see if I can get my Friday, because they're doing a big Valentine's weekend. And so there's a new guy at my place, and I just have been throwing shifts at him. And I picked up this shift knowing I hope this works out. I really hope that I'm not losing money in it. And surprise, I didn't. And I got there and I felt like hello fucking Dolly descending the stairs at the Harmonia Gardens. Everyone was so genuinely happy to see me. All my gays, my co-working gays, all my straights, all my girls, everybody, the kitchen staff, my bussers, everybody was so happy to see me. And I was like, what the fuck? I don't take back anything I said about this place. I don't take where they dropped the ball, but goddamn, this is a family. I love these people. I hate some of the shifts. I hate some of the things that go down, but like this is a family. And it's like we've talked about here with restaurants and with shows. You may be in a shitty show. You may be in a shitty restaurant, but goddamn, if some of the best things that come from it are the relations you make. And it wasn't even that busy last night, to be honest. Like there was no need for them to have me there. And my coworkers let me know, they're like, you're stealing money from us, especially because I was doing so well. But like, I wasn't sweating. I just felt like the fun aunt, fun uncle coming in, having a good time. I forgot half the menu, and people are like, what do you recommend? I'm like, the short rib. Yeah, the short rib. Yes, the short rib. All these things, it just came back, and it was like super fun, detached. And I'm like, how do I hold on to this? How do I hold on to this level of detachment? Because we've talked about it on here. You can't be in the weeds if you don't give a fuck, right? And I know this, and sometimes we just got caught up, and it's just reprioritizing your attachment to things and my concept of what it's like working there. So I am right now working on my grand return to this place. Even the angry chef, did I say this already? The angry, mean chef not only lit up when he saw me, Sean, you're back, stuck his hand through the window, shook my hand, was so happy to see me. I, of course, was showing cleavage because we wear all black there, and I got to show the tetas. And I was like, oh, chef, good to see you too. Gave him some cleavage. That motherfucker, he put out family meal, and he made me a gluten-free pasta without having to be asked, without having to be broke. He goes, hey, someone go get Sean. Let him know I cook for him. What? Sometimes absence does make the heart go fonder. A little distance makes you realize what you have. And I just want to make sure, I know I've said this, I'm not taking back anything I said. I'm not looking at this through rose-tinted glasses, but the perspective I have on it, like, this is just your survival job. Make your money, do what you need to do, remember what you're doing this for, and hang up the fucking apron. And what a wonderful lesson to be finally learning after 20 years, relearning every time I'm in this situation like this. And as I'm making my triumphant exit from hospitality while leaning into it. So hopefully have some good news and be picking up a few more shifts there and be fully out of the place that I'm at now and be leaning in. I'm getting up to nearly 30 hours with bookkeeping clients and bookkeeping workloads and doing my online courses to make the best of this new transition in my life. And I know last week was fun, but a few of the more recent opening shifts have been intense because I'm just transparent here. And this is the roller coaster of this industry. This is the roller coaster every artist goes through. This is the roller coaster I go through. And I just got to be transparent. I got to be honest, authentic, though thought out and intentional. I'm happy to report something great. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's that wonderful part. Other news I have to share. I just got back from an amazing week in Palm Springs. Again, making the most of this transition to my remote lifestyle, working remotely, doing books from anywhere, having multiple clients. A friend of mine, Richard Skipper, we've been promoting his show on here for the past few weeks. It happened. Went to Palm Springs, and I was so happy that he was coming out here. And I was like, I'm going to just go out for the day. I'm going to just go out for the day. I'll see a show. It's been a while. It was his 65th birthday. I'm going to go celebrate this guy because I just know, like I said, he could read you the phone book and you would just be sitting there in the palm of his hand. Such a charmer, such a wonderful showman with a stage presence. And then as I started getting more clients and my accountant brought me on to do some work for her firm, I'm like, I think I could turn this into a work trip. And so I wrote to her and she said, all right, here's what I need from you to validify this trip, and did it. And I had this beautiful day. I started off with a beautiful walk to get my coffee every day. I was working on clients. I ended every day in the hot tub. It was phenomenal. Palm Springs is magic. If you haven't been, go there. The only thing is it closes at 9:00 during the weekdays. And that's when I was there. I'm in Palm Springs in an off season and also I got there on a Monday. So there a few things were closed. It wasn't as lively, which was probably better, but it was interesting because Palm Springs is like this gay mecca, but like straight people are also allowed there, and I keep forgetting that. Like it's a hybrid place. Like there's room for everybody there. And so in some ways you're like at the gayest bar in this gay mecca, and it's so fabulous, and then you walk to the next bar and it's like somehow you ended up in fucking Connecticut. Like what is this bar in the middle of America? Like what are we doing here? But like that's the joy of it, and it was so fun. And I walked about like 5 miles every day, and I was like, oh man, I don't get this in LA. This feels so great. It's like you take the best of LA, the best of New York, and boom, you have Palm Springs. It is a magical place. Now, my client warned me when I was singing the praises of Palm Springs. She's like, "You're not moving there." And I'm like, "I know I'm not moving there." She's like, "You try it during summer." I'm like, "I know, but I'm just having fun now, and I want more moments like this." And I do have to give a shout out a lot of places, but mainly Tony's Grill on South Palm Canyon Road. I felt like I was in New York. The menu looked like a New York diner. I felt like I was on the Upper West Side. I got my jumbo salad. Usually I go for a Cobb, which they had and it looked great, but I got the blue cheeseburger salad, which was basically a giant Cobb salad with a blue cheeseburger on it. It was phenomenal. A side of fries, and I'm on vacation. I had a Manhattan with it. It was phenomenal. Go to Tony's Grill. It's a little down from the strip, getting more towards like Twin Palms, but you're not the staff was amazing and so attentive and so friendly and so funny. And there's so much eye candy in Palm Springs. It is phenomenal. And also, I forgot about this. Palm Springs is, and I don't mean this in any offensive way, but like, what a fucking confidence boost. Jeez, for gay men of a certain age, go to Palm Springs if you ever need to feel like a piece of meat. Oh Lord, I blushed. I blushed. That this is my postcard to Palm Springs. I am so happy to be back. I can't wait to go back. And that's all I got to say about Palm Springs. Now, listen, I actually got a lot more to say, but I'm trying to be thoughtful of the fact that I was doing good on keeping these short, and now I'm talking nonstop. Before we get to today's guest, who is keeping it funny, we are keeping on a comedian theme. I just want to remind you that last week's guest, Eric Williams, host of the Gay Ass Podcast, is going to San Francisco, my hometown, to perform at the Café du Nord on March 4th at, I didn't write down the time. I'm trying, people. I'm trying. But go to cafedunord.com, go to ericwilliams.com. He also has some dates coming up in Seattle, Chicago, New York at Joe's Pub, and here in Los Angeles. He is hilarious. Listen to his podcast and go see his show. Why all the drama? Another comedian with a show coming up is my dear friend and today's guest, the multi-talented, wonderful, big-hearted singer, songwriter, musician, violinist, comedian, musical theater actor, voiceover artist, audience. That'd be interesting. Are you a voiceover audience? Wow, I could barely hear you. She is fucking hilarious, and she's coming back to the Green Room February 28th with Green Eggs and Wham, her brand new show. Now, recently, she was nominated for a Broadway World Award for her solo show, I've Gotta Be Me. I saw it twice, ladies and gentlemen, because streaming is available. I believe streaming is available for this show. We'll get to it. But you may recognize her from her work in TV. She's been on Law and Order, Bull, FBI, The Flight Attendant, Succession, the other two. And most recently, she was on Dexter, the relaunching of that show, revamping. What is it called when they rebooting of that show? And we're going to unpack a little bit of that, because when I saw it, I was like, did she take that outfit? Is her wardrobe from my closet? I had to go look and count on my leopard print. She's a hilarious person with a big heart. And for the longest time, her and I just wreaked havoc throughout all of Hell's Kitchen. She is my margarita buddy from day one. We recently relived our glory days in NYC out when she was out here this summer, and we did our own little Inglewood margarita crawl, which I actually shared on an episode after that. Finally recovered, still drinking liquid IV. It was a long one, but we made it. Please welcome to the show my dear friend, the multi-talented, hilarious, and wonderful Rachel Green. Not that Rachel Green, this Rachel Green.
You've had me cracking up so hard. Oh, that margarita crawl.
Girl, that was amazing. And in true us fashion, we knew something was going to happen. We just didn't know how it was going to happen. And we were like going through the ghetto. Like we were walking in LA in some rough spots and you basically walked me home.
I
Like,
mean, to be fair, we got wasted, but we got our steps in. So,
yeah, we did like 6 miles that day. Like we burnt those calories. And it was like you had come out for this wedding and of
mhm,
our guest Jen Liv and you
that's
hung out
right.
with another guest of ours and friend Nathan Nolan Edwards,
Yes.
and you ended the trip with me on that pub crawl. There were some hits, there were some misses.
Oh God, that one place. That wasn't even real tequila. It was
Wine product.
like yeah, rice or something based, wine based.
Yeah,
Yeah. Ooh, we couldn't even finish it. And you know, if you and I don't finish a drink, there's something's wrong.
I mean, we got the drink, we got our like chips with bean dip, and we couldn't finish anything. And it's like, want to support small businesses, but also want to enjoy our fucking margaritas. So we
Yeah,
moved on.
but then we found that local hole in the wall, and it was amazing. The food
Okay,
was great. The margaritas were great. I mean, it was it. I mean, it was a local. It was like a dive bar Mexican restaurant.
similar to like what I said about Palm Springs, but like all of a sudden you're in Connecticut, be like, where the hell is this strip mall bar coming from? And this place was
It
like
was great.
in an abandoned neighborhood. It looked like the opening of Sister Act, the original Sister Act, like when she's in that Reno lounge. Like it was run down, but we couldn't get a seat at the bar. We had to get a seat at a table
Oh, the
because
locals knew because it was happy hour, I think, when we went.
it
And
was happy
yeah,
hour,
I
dimly
mean,
lit,
it could have been something out of Breaking Bad.
and probably was, probably was. But we had a
Ooh,
great time.
we did. We
We had a
did.
phenomenal time. I'm like, maybe I should have my next birthday there. And then I forgot. But I was doing a show. Anyways, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. I had so many things to say when I was listening to your intro. I'm like, honey, we met doing a show that you hated and you stuck with it and our friendship came out of it. Think about it, you know?
I
And
forgot about that.
I mean, I had a great time, but I had a more fun role than you did, you know? You were
You
kind
also,
of
yeah, I was also working at Sardi's at the time. And the schedule, like, there was no like
mm,
lunch shifts available. And it was like our rehearsal was in January. So I had like one shift a week that I was working and then getting paid in Metro fare to do this show for
oh,
like 2 months. So I made
because you were,
$138.
and I was
And you made
non-union, so I made nothing.
it was I forgot. I mean, it's really like with time, like the best parts of that show really kind of come forward. And I was like, we met Terrence McNally, we met Aaron Flaherty, we had all these amazing people came to see our show. We got so much buzz. The show had like talks of an off-Broadway transfer. We did like a
Oh
backers
yeah.
audition. Like I forgot about the fact that like it was rough. There were rough things about that show. Yeah, cast members
Yeah.
with low emotional intelligence and you and I just keeping people uplifted. Wow. Damn, Rachel, I forgot about that.
Well, it just seems so appropriate for what you were saying. And I mean, you know, I've had a day job that I go in and I get it done and I go home for the longest. And
Yeah,
yeah, it like I love what you said though, you know, remember what you're doing it for, you know. And I think as artists it's good to have steady income so that, you know, when you're auditioning, you're there for the art, you're there for the
yeah.
craft, and you're not there because you're desperate to feed yourself.
Exactly. And there are times to throw the pasta at the wall. There are times to go to every audition that you can. There's a time in your life, there's a place
Yeah.
for it. And then there's a place where it's like it actually would be better to be a little more selective and knowing who you are, knowing like there's no show in this season for me. So why am I showing up at because there's, back in the day it was just the thought that go to every audition you can. And it's like
Mm-mm.
then you're taking a spot from someone else and then that person later is then taking a spot from you and you can't, so it's like be really selective and know who you are and
Yeah.
see how things line up, because otherwise you're operating out of fear. And I've actually, I've talked to my therapist about you. I've talked to my accountant about you, and
I hope it
all
was
good,
good.
all good things. And I'm sure I've mentioned it on this show before, because like way back when I first started in restaurants and I was like, this lifestyle sucks, then also started in with bookkeeping. And it's just been this back and forth and back and forth. And I was in San Francisco, and who I worked for, the gentleman, wanted to like teach me all these things and get me all these certifications. And I was like, yeah, we went out to dinner one night. And he was like, so I'm going to pay for you to take this course. I'm going to pay for you to get this software. I'm going to pay for you, da, 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 da. And I was like, I'm moving to New York. And he's like, okay, so I'm not going to pay for this. I'm not going to pay for that. But he had always wanted me to do all these things that I just kept avoiding, because I'm like, I'm going to be a star. Like, you don't understand. Like, this would be great. And I avoided this sort of security, because I'm like, it's just temporary. Me working in restaurants is just temporary. And here I am 20 years later, kind of establishing what you did and the lifestyle you made for yourself. You were ahead of working remotely. You were ahead of the pandemic and having things changed. And really, can you share with people your setup and how it started,
Sure.
with not your current job, but your current career, your 9 to 5, and how it's
Mm.
kind of been beneficial. So that way we don't always have to lean into this stereotype of being a working artist surviving in hospitality. What is your setup like?
Well, I mean, as you know, just to give a little background, I played violin my whole life, and I am the daughter of two French horn players. And although I played forever and took lessons and was in many competitions, they were like, please don't become a poor musician. And I said, what? But we've been doing all these lessons and all this practicing. And they were like, well, you can always play, but you need to have something to fall back on. And I thought about it and I was like, okay, they're probably right. And I went to school for finance and I hated it and I trudged through it, but it provided a very stable, degree and bank of knowledge that I could use. So, I tried all the things, as you know, and I mean, I'm a Reiki master, and I love doing that, but that wasn't steady enough. And bartending for me, I wanted to be a mixologist when it was like originally happening, like
Hmm.
in the days of Death and Company, and it was only like them and Julie Reiner. And so you really had to like apprentice. And I was like, I can't afford to be a barback,
Yeah.
and not with New York City rent. And so, long story short, I temped and eventually became an executive assistant and was like, oh, this is actually really good for me because it's a steady paycheck and it's stable. And, I am very organized and I get to use my brain, and then I can go do the things. And quickly, they saw that I could juggle the auditioning and the thing, the job, right? The thing that they're paying me for. And then, yeah. And, I had moments where I was like, oh God, I'm a sellout, but I'm not. I just realized that if I was showing up to my auditions being like, in the background, please give me this job so that I can pay my rent, then it came out across as desperate,
Yeah.
and it wasn't going to get me the job. So it was kind of like a catch 22. And then with my current job, I'm actually celebrating my 15-year anniversary. What?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I got a vacuum. They give you a whole catalog of things to choose from. They give you, jewelry, luggage, clothing, camping kits, barbecues,
Damn.
for your 5 year, your 10 year, and your 15. And it gets better obviously over time. And I was like, I don't need any of that other stuff. I really need a new vacuum. And apparently it sends a notification to your boss. So I saw my boss the next day and I said, by the way, it's my 15-year anniversary. And he goes, I know, you got a vacuum.
It's funny when you're at a different place in life. When like a
I
vacuum is the most
mean,
exciting thing that could happen to you.
I was like, it's cordless, it lasts 40 minutes.
Well, hey, sign me up.
But yeah, so I guess, I don't know. What's interesting about my job is my original boss also didn't want to be there.
Yeah,
And so he was based technically in DC and had an apartment in New York. So as he wore on in the company and liked it less and less, he came into the office less. And then I, in turn, came into the office less. And then the guy that followed up after him was like, hey, I'm going to need you in more. But it was still like a 3-day work week. It was still quite hybrid. And also with my company, we had been located near the Wall Street area, South Street Seaport. And so during Hurricane Sandy, our office just got decimated,
yeah.
flooded the whole basement and all the electronics. So I worked from home for 2 months. So when COVID happened, it was like, oh yeah, old hat. Like I know how to work from home, never stopped working in either of those awful circumstances. So yeah, now I go into the office twice a week
That's
and
so lively.
it's brilliant. I mean, they want me to do 3, and I was like, no,
No, we're good. You can keep the
yeah,
vacuum if that's what it costs.
yeah, exactly. So that's my deal. And also nowadays, most things are self tapes,
Yeah,
unless sometimes they do in
literally most
person,
things.
which I actually really like. You appreciate because as an empath, when I had to be around all the, this all of that nonsense and not so much with TV and film auditions but still being around other actors nervous energy and sometimes I would walk in
And
there
negative
not
energy. Yeah, like
yeah and I would walk in not nervous at all and then suddenly be nervous because I was picking up on their vibrations and I was like oh and now I can just do it comfortably with a friend on Zoom or
yeah.
go find a friend down the block and in Actoria, as we love to call it.
And it's nice to just like know, like bring in your best 16 bars. Bring in like no, let me know what you want me to learn. Like let me give me the sides. I would rather know what I'm reading for than to
Yeah.
like try and find a monologue and then miss it and be like, well, actually, this show is set in 1947. Be like that's nowhere on the breakdown, like and I'm doing a modern monologue. It's like, okay, I could have come in with something else. So, what I appreciate about self tapes is the fact that like I know what you're looking for and I know what I'm working with and I want to just it feels like almost a callback. Like this
Mm,
is me with the material
yeah.
and we're good.
Granted, I haven't done a musical theater audition on self tape because I don't really audition for that much anymore.
Yeah.
As you know, I've done theater, uh, which is interesting because it's bigger and
Yeah.
wider frame, and you could do a lot more. I'm mostly TV and film, which I love in a certain sense because you could be really relaxed. I try not to do more than like 2 to 4 maximum takes with a friend, and then like, okay, great, we got this and we got this, and if we have contrasting, great, and if not, we'll just use our favorite. Um, but yeah, the one thing I miss is the relationships. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel fortunate that I was in the business long enough to build most of the relationships in person prior. And now we can roll with that. But sometimes it's fun.
Yeah.
So on occasion, when they have the Zoom option, I will take it just to be like, hey, Julie, nice to see you. What's up?
It is
Yeah.
nice. I mean, there's a casting director out here in LA that I went this summer for the first time to audition for her, and I've been auditioning for her since I was in New York. Like,
Mm.
and she's like, "Oh, it's so good to see you again." And I was like, "Girl, this is the first time we've ever met in person." And she's like, "Are you kidding me?" She goes, "I feel like I know you." I'm like, "I know. I feel like I know you too. We've never met in person." But it's like, so it's almost like that, friends with and Facebook. Like you feel you're more
Mhm.
caught up than you are because you're seeing these posts. But then it's like, I'll pick up the phone, like, "Damn, that happened too. Shit. Oh wow." And you really got to catch up with a person. So yeah, there's pros and cons about in
For sure.
person versus self tape. What I don't like musical theater wise is especially for the songs, like in the moment when you're singing in a room in front of people, there's grace. because it's just like it's theater. So it's grace,
Mm-hmm.
it's in the moment, it's whatever the elements are around you, whatever, is going on with you that day. But with the self-tape, it's just, I mean, the need to be perfectly, you
Mm.
know, in tune here, which you should always strive to be in tune, but sometimes things, it's a weird vowel and you've only had the song for a few days. It's on, it's a weird placement. It sits in weird. And so it's just like, that was a great shot, but then there's that one thing and it's like, it's set on tape forever. And then there's also like
Mm-hmm.
weird, like not all auditions, I'm sure you've noticed this with the TV and film too, like not all auditions are equal. I had one for this, Broadway bound show that didn't make it to Broadway, and it was like an immediate replacement, and they need like a 48-hour turnaround for this 5-minute song that was not melodic. And it was like, and it just all kind of like, hey, when it all lives around three notes, and it's like, which sequence are we at? And they wanted the entire like 4 or 5 minute song.
That's rude.
And I'm like, that's kind of dumb. That's
And
kind
you
of, so I
don't
just,
need 5 minutes. You're going to know in the first 30 seconds.
exactly. So that's just like, yeah, but enough about that. I want to talk about,
No, I feel you. It just, yeah, I'm sorry, one more thing. You reminded
yeah.
me, they're doing a production of the Italian American Reconciliation on Broadway, and I auditioned to be the understudy for Janice. And was it Janice? It was funny because when I was younger, I would audition with the younger girl, and now I'm older, and it was, the older woman
Yeah,
and the wife essentially, and yeah, it was a 7-minute tape, a 7-minute self tape.
that's too
Like,
much.
come on.
Well, especially when you're thinking about like self tapes and what they are. It's like, again, I have the camera right here. My dog is scratching his collar over there, and then I haven't digested it. And it's like, there's the casting directors on Instagram, and they're always like these pro tips, and it's like, well, why shouldn't you be fully off book, and why shouldn't? It's like all these expectations of like, if you've given somebody a quick turnaround, like if they have to look down, that's fine. I memorize it because like that's just how my brain works. I can memorize things quickly, but sometimes with quick memorizations, I'm thinking more about the word and not the moment. And so it's like, what do you want from people? And that's like my
Yeah.
biggest frustration is like, what do you want from me? Do you want to show that I can memorize something, or do you really want me to connect? And if I have to just like take a moment and obviously look down, it's not like I haven't read it and I'm just like
Yeah.
have the paper right here, shaking
No,
like
I just put it right here. Just
just
right
like,
on the
yeah,
sides.
right off the little bit, right? Um,
Yeah.
hey there, just checking in. I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. And if you are, why not leave us a 5-star review and a comment or two wherever you're listening to this from? And don't forget to follow us on social media at TUFF SHIFT Podcast. That's TUFF Shift Podcast. Everywhere, literally everywhere. And just a reminder, gratuity's not included, but tips are always welcome. And you can find our virtual tip jar at tuffshiftpodcast.com. That's TUFF shiftpodcast.com. All right, back to the show. Now, I want to talk about in relation to this and in relation to like where you are at with your career and how you approach things, because the industry's changed, not
Mm.
just self tapes, but like how people are booking, how people are getting paid, what production is happening. Like luckily enough, I feel like a lot of stuff is happening in New York, but the industry's changed. And how has that affected your relationship to the industry or
Mm.
your level of expectation of like, do I want to book? Do I need to book? Do I have time for this?
That's a really good question. Yeah, unfortunately, capitalism always wins. And so it's really about money. And a lot of these production companies have found that it's cheaper to shoot outside of this country, in
Yeah.
Canada and Europe and even Australia and New Zealand. And these are full on union projects, and they will fly out the crew if they need to, and the actors and everybody. But yeah, so it is slower for sure. And everyone's like, it's coming back, it's coming back. And then is it? But I will say, you know me, like I love you so much and I have so much beautiful community in Los Angeles and I love LA. It's really healthy for my body and my mind.
Yeah.
However, I'm an only child to two elderly parents, so I just don't feel comfortable,
Yeah.
moving away from them. They're in their, 80s and it's just what's up. But
Yeah.
on a positive note, there's just as much work in New York, if not more, at the
Yeah.
moment. They're building out a Netflix studio in New Jersey. I shot Dexter up in Yonkers. They're calling
I
it
love that.
Hollywood on the Hudson. Okay. Anyway, there's an indie soundstage up there. I forget what it's called, and so we're always going to have the procedurals here. People love their procedurals. You
Yeah.
got your Law and Order and your FBI and well, formerly Blue Bloods. Ironically, they shoot Boston Blue up in Toronto.
Oh,
I don't know why they're not shooting in Boston.
man.
And I was
Is
in
that
the mix. I
is it
was in the
Wahlberg in
mix
that?
for that. Yeah.
Is that's a Wahlberg one?
Hmm. Anyway,
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
I, it's very much of that universe. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. But I think I've always tried to live with the philosophy of like, as much as I love this, this is not the only thing in my life, right?
Yeah.
And I have to enjoy my life and bring in things that make me happy: dancing, yoga, traveling, going to see theater and live music of other artists, trying to have mindfulness, do my Pilates and all my stuff. And
All that stuff.
but I mean, that's why I'm doing this George Michael show at the end of
Yeah.
the month, actually, is because, there is a piece of me that misses singing.
Yeah.
I as much as I hated auditioning for musical theater, I love performing live theater and I especially love singing. And I feel like my voice has come a long way just by, letting it all kind of settle and, developing who you are as a human. It all just kind of finally falls into place.
Yeah.
And I've been obsessed with George Michael since I was a child. So I was like, you know what? Make the thing that you love,
Yeah.
do it for the sake of creating, not for
Yeah.
anything else. And yeah, of course I want to sell tickets and I want to have people in the audience, but that's like just the smallest piece of it. I'm not doing it for really anyone but like kind of myself, and hopefully people will enjoy it just by the joy that I'm having. Obviously, we're gonna like, have jokes and it'll be fun and costume changes and shenanigans.
Well, I
But
mean, based on the promo for it, I imagine it will be fun. Like the pictures, like they literally are dressed up like Wham. So if we're gonna jump forward there, I really want to just
oh,
like,
sorry, it just
but
made me think of
no,
it. Yeah.
no, I want to make sure that we definitely get to it. I was actually going to have you, reshare a story from your last episode, but I'm like,
Oh,
we've just hit the ground running, and like, you can go back to her episode. I think she's like episode 5 or 4 or 5, whatever. Go listen to it. It's great. You want to hear about
thank you.
working weddings in Long Island? Um,
Oh my God.
oh my God. Tony
Oh
and
my
Tina's
God.
weddings. You were ready for that show, which she did. Right? You
Yeah.
did. Yeah, you did.
I did Tony and Tina's wedding, yes.
So I think you are really interesting, that these things kind of like fall on your lap when you are multi-talented and multi-hyphenated, and you're a comedian and you're an actress and you do this. So it's like I had to give time to TV. I have to give time to my stand-up. I have to practice my violin. And recently, you just got to sing your praises. You were nominated for a Broadway World Award for your
Oh,
one-woman show, I've Got to Be Me, which is kind of like how you brought everything together to
thank you.
kind of like, these are all my talents. And again, with the industry changing, it affects every industry and how things are. So it's like getting a Netflix special, getting a Hulu special, all these things. It's like nobody's paying for shit anymore unless you have, it's like that Carrie Coons interview, like unless you have a Gilded Age, unless you have a White Lotus on your thing. And so you kind of have to do your own shit. And so you not only made your own comedy special in a live venue, but like you also were able to do it that incorporates all of who you are, the Judy Tenuta of it all. I'm funny, I'm musical, I can sing, I got characters. So can you, before we get to your show, Green Eggs and Wham. How did you find your way back to the live stage in this way?
Oh, sure. I was doing the theater and musical theater and I was getting frustrated and I was, enjoying more TV and film. I had, God, I think one of the first things I did back in the day before I did all those wonderful reenactment shows, Red Rum and Celebrity Ghost
Celebrity ghost
Stories.
stories.
Bless. You know what though? Those are great opportunities, and I got to play a lead role in both, so
Yeah.
that was great. Um, and oh my God, I did the Jeannie Tate show and worked with Aubrey Plaza when she was like, yeah, that was a long time
Baby
ago,
Aubrey.
baby Aubrey, and I was like, this chick is really weird, and I was right. Um, she's
She
always been
is, and we
her.
fucking love her.
She's great. She's great, but she played this like deadpan, annoying teenager, and she's still the same deadpan, amazing weirdo. Yeah, and so I was writing a web series or pilot based on my life being a single lady in New York, going to Burning Man, being into like polyamory and exploring BDSM and like discovering my queerness and all this. And it was going to be like a Broad City meets girls, but I'm not a screenwriter and I hadn't
Hmm.
taken a class. And my friend Justin was like, why don't you, you know, um, do stand up, tell your stories through stand up. You have all these amazing stories. And I was like, ugh, go away. Stand ups are miserable. And then I took that class at Caroline's and I really liked it. And I was like, oh God, I think I'm a stand up comedian now. Shit. And yeah, it stuck. And then I produced the Venus Flytrap, which was, a very femme forward, sex positive comedy show with Jacqueline Francis, also known as Jack the Stripper.
Yeah.
And then did the Boss Bitch show with Kirsten O'Brien for a couple of years. And we had a podcast. And, it's just like, I realize as much as stand up can be a slog and a grind and have really high highs and really low lows, it fulfills that live theater
Hmm.
bug,
Yeah.
that interaction with the audience, the the instant gratification of the laughter, and also not for nothing, you really do get to be sort of a shaman because you are lifting the energy of the audience, and that's a real gift and a real honor to sort of transport people to a different place and energy and experience. And like we all need laughter, like a
Yeah.
lot,
Oh, yes.
especially right now. And so, yeah, now, like you were saying, I focus on quality over quantity. I mean, after things opened up with the pandemic, I was doing like 25 shows a month and just burning myself at all candle
Yeah.
ends. And now it's like, okay, I still perform quite a bit, but it's quality stuff. And yeah, now my favorite sort of mix of it all is like you were saying is combining the things and doing musical comedy and writing parodies or writing original songs, like my ayahuasca song that seems to be the crowd
Yeah.
pleaser. Yeah.
And
You did ayahuasca, but you're still an asshole. Can I say that? Sorry.
you can say whatever the fuck you want, and it's true because more people need to know. Like, I get it. You went to Forum, but you're still a dick. Like, that doesn't
Oh
take
my God.
away like all these. Sorry, am I allowed to say that? But yeah, like you can go on all these spiritual
I
journeys
think
and
you
still
mean
be
the
an asshole.
landmark
There,
forum, which I
there we go.
that I did.
And I did my version of it in San
Yes,
Francisco.
that's okay. I'm
But
still an asshole. That's fine.
while we're on that and creating content and drawing from
Mm,
lived experiences, you recently, and I watched this and was like, oh shit.
mm.
Not only was it funny, but I also know the places, at least for me, where it comes from, and knowing you and where we've kind of like exchanged our experiences and meeting certain people like this. Will you talk about your most recent comedy reel and sketches that you've been putting out there?
Sure. My friend David and I, for the past couple of years, have been working on a pilot, and we decided to call it Bad Magic. And the premise is that we are Houdini's great grandchildren, and we may or may not have mystical powers, but we essentially exploit that to try to make money, and shenanigans ensue. And so, writing a pilot is hard. It's a lot of work and it's challenging, and having people pay attention to pilots nowadays is tough,
Yeah.
And so what we did was we sort of made an episode. We made a vertical short of what would be episode 1, like a teaser, and we split it into 2 parts because people have no attention span. So we had like part 1 and part 2. And essentially, we own a crystal shop, and I found a local crystal shop in Astoria, and we just had a couple of friends come in, and we shot one really cold morning, I think in November or December, and we edited it, and it was a blast, and it also was a lot of work, but it was
Yeah.
like, at least we have something to show for it. And again, it's creating for the sake of creating, and hopefully
Yeah.
something comes out of it. I mean, we definitely have more silly episodes that we've thought of, so yeah.
That's great. And then it's not like you're trying to push this pilot onto people's desks. It's almost like you get to that place where you've created this thing, and then somebody's like, you should make that into a pilot, and you're like, oh, what a one! Would you like to help us? Just like really getting people on there through the back door, which can be fun sometimes.
Mm.
Now,
With lube.
with girl, girl, do you sell that at your store? Now I want to get back
We
to
have yoni eggs.
charged by the moonlight. So in all these things you're creating, and all these collaborations you're doing, going back to Green Eggs and Wham,
I
tell us
love
about
the way
coming
you
up with
say
this
it.
concept. Wham. How did you and your collaborator Mark find each other and find this
Oh yeah.
concept and really go balls to the walls? Because when you sent me that first picture, I was like, I almost dropped my phone, which, better me dropping my phone than your phone, which may or may not have happened in a bar one time. So how did you come up with this concept? How did you two connect? And like, what should people expect when they come see your show?
Sure. Mark Benjamin, my collaborator and cohort in this adventure, we met doing stand up comedy, and it turned out that he loves doing musical comedy as well. And we love doing karaoke, and he's a brilliant musician. I mean, much like me, has just really like found his voice,
Yeah.
and has really become an extraordinary piano player as well, because he works at Sid Gold's doing piano karaoke. And he also does he plays Beatles in the park in Central Park, doing like Strawberry Fields, that whole
Oh,
world. So
wow.
he's gotten into these worlds where he's constantly playing, and so it's really like strengthened him in so many ways. And we just also like adore each other. We're just like besties, and we laugh a lot,
Yeah.
and have kind of similar upbringings, and similar kind of like weird zigzaggy stories to finding our queerness. And yeah. And so, when I approached him, I said, hey, I really want to do a George Michael show. I love George Michael. I love his music. I love his journey. Do you want to do it with me? And he was like, yeah, uh-huh, absolutely. And then we just started playing with it. And he's got an amazing range, and can sing up into the rafters, and I'm like,
Mm.
oh my god, this is going to be perfect. And for me, I don't often get to sing in the bottom of my voice.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, I'm working on my mezzo and my mix and my belt and my high shit, and this is like, oh, I get to sing down here,
Yeah.
like my speaking voice. And so yeah, we've just been creating it, and we're still creating it. And we're in that stage of show creation where you're both excited and nervous, and making changes by the minute, and just making it work, and writing new jokes, and more banter, and how can we relate this, and how can we mash this song up, and how can we remix it and make it ours, and what do I want to tell in this story of that song, and just all that, really the shit that artists love, the shit that I love. So yeah, so that's where we're at. And of course we'll have some costumes, and different instrumentation, some surprises. We'll have Steve Picotaggio, who's one of my favorite percussionists on percussion. And he worked with me the first time I did my show, and he loves comedy. So it's just so cute when you watch the live stream or when you're there in person. And yes, there is a live stream. He's just in the background with a big smile on his face, just like laughing at all the jokes, just having a blast. And who doesn't want to work with someone like that, you know?
Yeah, that really pumps you up. So is the
Yeah.
concept, are you both George Michael and Andrew? I'm so sorry. Are you the
Ridgely.
yeah, are you the members of Wham, or is it like it's self-aware that it's the two of you dressed up as Wham? Like how does that work?
You'll find out.
Oh, I guess I will. I guess I will.
It's not like we're playing them as characters. It's not like I'm strictly George and he's strictly Andrew. For purposes of the flyer, that was what we
I
chose.
love it.
And he kind of does look like Andrew Ridgely, which is so funny. We
It was
never.
pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing. I was going to ask, like,
And,
how did you decide who's who? But it's like, oh, how could you not? How could you not?
yeah, and I found that stupid wig on Amazon that, on one hand I look like George Michael, on the other hand I look like, Karen who's going to sell you real estate, but it
John and Kate
works.
plus eight. Like, yeah, it's got a little bit of
Yeah,
everything.
it's
It's how
it's
you dress it up. It's like those magazines where it's like, take your work outfit and make it into an evening look, and like take these jeans and just put on a pearl necklace. It's like it's that type of a
yes.
wig.
We will take turns essentially, and
Nice.
we called it green eggs and wham because it was just funny, and we're just
Thanks
silly
for saying it that way.
people. Yeah, and yes, my last name is Green, and so there's that. And I don't know, we tossed around a couple of names, and it stuck. And literally every time I say it to someone, they giggle. And so we were like, great, that's the title. And of
Yeah,
course, yes, we will have some Wham stuff in there, but it's mostly George Michael because it's a tribute
a
to
bigger
him.
catalog. Yeah,
But yeah, we'll definitely touch on some Wham. And there's moments where I'm doing the solos. There's going to be a lot of harmonies because we love to geek out on a good harmony. And I'll have my violin, which may look a lot of different ways. He'll have piano, maybe some guitar. We'll see what happens.
I
Yeah.
love that. And so this is February 28th at 7 p.m. at the
Hmm.
Green Room 42. And you can just go to the greenroom42.com and it'll take you to the
Hmm.
venue tix site, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And you can also order live stream. So I'm actually going to be up
Hmm.
in the Bay Area helping my brother move. So we'll have that on with some margaritas that evening, or I guess afternoon. I
Ooh.
guess whenever, because if you do the live stream, this is the best part about the live stream. If you're in New York, go see the fucking show. If you're in LA, like me, or in San Francisco, you get the live stream and you have 2 weeks to watch it.
I
So
think it's a
please,
week. I
you
think it's
have
a week.
all week to watch it. All right. Either way, there's no
It's still
refunds.
good. It's
It's
still
so
good.
good.
And just make sure that you buy the ticket, I think, before the show, and definitely before 2 hours before the show. You want to make sure
Yes.
you have that ticket. But if you can't watch it right at that time, which I guess would be like 4 o'clock,
4.
because 4 o'clock.
I do bookkeeping.
Maybe you're in Arizona.
I'm a
No,
musician. I'm like,
it would be. Yeah, I think it's 4 o'clock Pacific. If you can't do that, then yes, the live stream link will last a week. And yeah, the nice thing is that if what I love about Green Room 42, aside from the beautiful stage and the amazing sound and lights, and Sheridan, the most lovely sound and lighting person on the
was just
planet.
talking about Sheridan in Palm
Who
Springs.
doesn't love Sheridan? Come
Everybody in Palm
on.
Springs were like, everyone at the table we were at had worked at Green Room 42. And
Everyone
we were
loves
just like,
Sheridan.
everyone loves Sheridan. Everyone
How
loves
could you not?
Sheridan and his long
He's
hair, and he's the
he's
best. He
he's
wraps you in his
kind and
heart.
he's talented, and yeah, yes, adore him. And
This is gonna have to be a clip we share on social media, just like a Sheridan love post and tag him in
we
it.
love Sheridan. Aside from that, what's so nice about the Green Room 42 is that they don't charge a food and drink minimum.
Nope.
However, if you want to make it like a night out and get there at 6 o'clock, the food is actually really good, and so are the cocktails.
Yeah.
So it's like, who wouldn't want to? But also, you don't have to.
And you have
So,
space. It's not like you're at some of the other venues where you're on top of people.
oh
You
my
can
gosh.
breathe. It's so nice. Now, I want to make sure, just because it popped up in my head, that I do really just want to take a moment to acknowledge you. in this collaboration and the collaborations you've mentioned, and to really just like sell the point to people coming to see you about like why they should go, is I have seen Rachel in nearly every stage and every collaboration, every comedy wife she's had, every thing that she's done. I've seen The Boss Bitch. I've seen Ghost Tits, Venus Flytrap. I've seen the Booklights. I've seen all the bands that she's done and all the where her talents, her multiple talents, whether she's just playing fiddle and singing alto or she's leading this song and doing that. All the collaborations that she does always yield a high result, and it's like not just about the many talents that facilitate these collaborations, but really just speaks to her as a person and the people she chooses to collaborate with. So I have not met Mark, but I can only assume based on past experience that this will be a great fucking show, and I just had to
Thank
take a
you.
moment to sing your praises.
Aw, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, before I let
Yeah.
you go, I wanna just we're getting towards that winding down. I want to give you back your afternoon because you have a show to rehearse. I have to share some bad news. I'm not sure if you know, but Rita's is no longer with us on 51st and Ninth Avenue.
Oh no!
Yeah, and that's one of our. We started across the street at Ariba Ariba. We went two doors down to Hell's Kitchen, and then we went one door over to what used to be a sushi place. And then one day it was just not the owners weren't there, and there was just like rotting fish in the thing. Like, and then it became Rita's, and it's like it's so sad because we have so many memories and like
I can't
things,
believe it.
memories that we don't have anymore. But like, I'm sure we have memories there.
They're fuzzy.
They're fuzzy, but it's such a New York experience. Like that's just New York. Things come, things go, things change. So
Yeah.
this is, a little bit about hospitality in this podcast. So with that being said,
Mm.
around New York City being what it is, what is a place in New York City that's no longer there that you feel have special having been able to take a part of it and you have memories, have a drink you love?
Oh,
Like what is something you miss but you're glad it
girl,
happened?
girl.
Yeah.
There's so many. I've lived here my whole life. Oh God. Well, all right. Can I
You
get
can't say
one
the
of a
Palladium.
See, you know me so well. Yeah, that's the first thing that comes up. Literally, the Palladium and the Tunnel. Oh man, those were the
Yeah.
best nightclubs on the planet. But as far as like bars and restaurants are concerned, well, we did have a scare where we thought Ninth Avenue Saloon wasn't going to be around, but they came back,
They
and
came
that was
back.
another one of our stomps, our stomping grounds. And you know what I miss? I miss the Delta Grill. Do you remember that place?
I threw up in that bathroom. I was at a table with friends and we went to a show at Don't Tell Mama, and
Mm,
I was still, this is my early New York days where I wasn't used to drinking that much. Like when
mm.
I lived in the Bay Area, I'd have a drink a month and that was the most. In New York, because drinking is so easily facilitated, so I shouldn't have been having martinis. And so I had two martinis at Don't Tell Mama. I had a martini at the Delta Grill, which is where you go to get martinis, and then like some sort of chili burger. And I literally
Ah,
I remember just like standing up and removing myself from the table, almost like an Irish goodbye, to like go to the bathroom and do what I had to do, and then I came back and finished my burger.
yes, you
These are the type
did.
of memories that you only have at Delta. What did you used to get at Delta Grill that you miss?
They had some really good gumbo and some
Yeah.
really good cornbread. And yeah, that was my staple there. I went on my first date with Shar there. Do you remember Shar?
Yeah, we were both dating emotionally interesting people at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we went to the place on Cinco de Mayo and she was like kept trying to make out with me and I was like, my friends are here and it's 5 p.m. Could you stop?
And
Like I
meanwhile,
I like that you want me so much, but let's wait a little.
but Sean's
Uh
doing it. God
no, you were
bless.
just busy smacking people across the face.
Edit, 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 edit. All right. So this is the actual last part of the show that we didn't get to do because you were such an early guest that there were just times I forgot to do things. And
Oh.
I'm not sure if you remember. I was like, hey, I forgot to do this, and you couldn't send me the video. So this is the
Oh.
part of the show that
What are we
now I've
doing?
not forgotten since forgetting with you,
Oh my
where we
God.
all know
Are we
how.
doing karaoke? What's happening?
No, no, no. Don't wait. Unless you want to. I actually hate karaoke. But this is the part of the show we all know how bad as performers working in hospitality and all the ways we worked in hospitality, how things happen in the workplace. We know how fast bad news travels and just gains its own life. And good news and good reviews barely see the light of day when that's what we should be leading with. So I like to
Mm-hmm.
end each show by
Mm.
shouting out someone in your life, whether it be in your 9 to 5 job, your performance life, your whatever life, whatever part of you, someone that you want to shout out for making a tough shift easier. And you just want to say thank you to them.
Mm. Oh, wow. That's a great question. Tough shift easier. Do, do, do,
We
do, do, do,
don't have the rights.
do. Yeah. Um, wow. I'm trying to think. There's so many times where work has sucked. I have to say, at my current job, I have a colleague, Maureen, and she's my ride or die. She's so good. She's so chill, she's so grounded, she's so
Mm,
competent. And anytime I travel, like I don't have to worry. She takes care of my bosses. It's not a problem. I don't have to like worry that I have to train her. And she's just lovely. And she's me. She's salt of the earth. She doesn't like bullshit. She's not like the newer executive assistants who have no life outside of the job and they just want to like get together with the other assistants and like talk about their cats. And we're like,
yeah,
shut the fuck up. Like, just do your job and go home.
yeah.
Like, we had this one chick who came in to work for the CFO. She wants to have a virtual happy hour at 7 p.m. No, no,
No,
bitch.
I'm
5
in my
p.m.
caftan. Yeah,
I'm out. I'm out. Like, yeah. Do I occasionally check my phone, like if my boss is on a trip or something? Yeah, of course. I'm doing my job. But like for the most part, I leave that place and it's not in my brain. And
yeah.
don't make me put it there. And so yeah. So Maureen is just my solid work chick. She'll be at the show. She's like, she hates fake people like me. She hates bullshit. And I'm just gonna cry when she retires.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, Maureen, there you have it.
Maureen
There,
Thompson, you're my
Maureen Thompson.
girl.
Clearly, the world needs more people like you. Thank you for doing everything you do to make our tough shifts easier.
Mm-hmm.
This has been another episode of Tough Shift. And just remember,
Hmm.
tough shifts build character, and character is what brings your story to life. Take care of each other. Oh, grrr.
Love you.
Tough Shift was created and hosted by Sean Patrick Murtagh. It was recorded on Riverside and distributed with Buzzsprout. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and maybe a comment or two. And remember, tough shifts build character, and character is what brings your story to life.